Impressive is a word which is an understatement to the way Switzerland played against Germany and Hungary and Scotland. It was just amazing, impeccable, outstanding the way the manager has actually coached the team and organized the team with a leader like Xhaka, who's been maintaining, compressing, and condensing the spaces in the midfield against teams like Germany. This performance against the Germans was a special one for Switzerland. Even though Germany had the possession, they dominated the ball, they were moving the ball, knocking the ball really well around the Swiss. It was quite an open end-to-end game initially, and then we saw Germany enjoying the possession all across the ground. They had more final third entries, they had more key passes to the final third, but they could not convert their chances. And this reminded me of the Germans before, when they used to control the ball in the earlier competitions over the last couple of years. They failed to make an impact because of their poor conversion rate. And then a person like Nicholas Fulkrug out of nowhere comes in, heads the ball in for the Germans, and they equalize against Switzerland. Right? It was quite upsetting, to be honest, as a neutral to watch an underdog, a dark horse like Switzerland, um, conceding a goal in the last final minutes of the game. But what an effort, what a massive effort by Switzerland. A couple of players that I really want to talk about. I think Endoe Mbolo had a few minutes where they were impacting the game a lot, especially the first goal that they scored. They were looking really ferocious on the left channel against the likes of Rudiger, Kimmich, and Top. Germans are so used to be, controlling the possession in the opposition's half that they usually forget that they are existing on a high line. They are not able to close down the spaces. I think that's where Endoe Mbolo really took advantage of the outlets. Xhaka being one, Freuler turning out to be another superstar in this game, and the fullbacks, even though they're not naturally fluidic, but Abesher and Widmer provided that width. They were quite narrow as well. Whilst defending, I think Switzerland had an amazing defensive performance as well, with Rodriguez, Akanji, Fabian Shaw at the helm of things. On so many set pieces, on so many corners, we could see that Akanji, Shaw was standing out loud, aerially dominating the ball. Jan Sommer turning out big against Kai Havertz, Gundogan, Florian Wirtz. Again, Wirtz, I think, had an amazing game, to be honest. I think I was quite impressed with the way he was actually providing through balls in the second half. He was controlling the possession. We could see that the Germans were struggling in creating those impeccable chances at one point in time. They looked flat in a few moments throughout the game where we could see that Musiala and Witz were coming in deep to carry the ball ahead, because it looked like the last two lines of defense for Switzerland were really astute and they wanted to break them down. So it was working to a certain extent where Musiala would drive the ball ahead and he would actually get into the right or the left channels and he would try inducing some flank play with the help of Kimmich and Witz. But I think to a large extent, I think to the previous performances where they were very convincing with the way they converted those chances, I think Germans were struggling in doing that despite the bigger chances that came their way in the second half, right? But yeah, massive statement put out there by Switzerland. I think this Euros is an Euros where the mass. This is the Euros for the most upsets that are going to take place. This version of the Euros is the Euros of upsets. It's going to be so massively disappointing for the bigger teams. I feel in the knockout stages, especially with the third place in contention. Now we have Switzerland, who are literally dominating the game. They dominated the game and it looked like they'll be topping the charts, the Group A. But the Germans came out on top. They are on top right now. Switzerland are the runner-ups. Then we have Hungary, who again caused a massive upset for Scotland. I think in that fixture too, the game was quite flat, to be honest, even though Scotland, they are so poor on the ball. The team is not in sync. They don't look like they have that hunger or desire, barring a few players like McGinn, Billy Gilmore. They're not positioned in the right spaces to be attacking the ball, to be attacking the spaces. Robertson clearly looks so average in this outfit as well. I think Scotland really need to be getting a new manager maybe, or they need to find what is going on with them. They had the game in their hands. They were going to be the third place in the Group A, but they failed to do that as well. Um, I think, yeah, massive, massive shout to Hungary for the final minute goal that was scored in the 90th plus 10th minute of injury time. I think that was a massive comeback for Hungary, and I think they are going to be quite demolishing in the knockout stages as well. In fact, every team, every dark horse in this edition of the Euros has been really ferocious. They've been really dangerous. The games have ended via really narrow margins. The results were really close, and we could clearly see with the way different teams like Slovenia, Czech Republic, Slovakia, even Belgium, I think they are dark horses in this competition. Even though you have weapons like Doku, you've got a Lukaku who's been pretty unlucky with the chances that he's missed. You've got a De Bruyne. Belgium are considered the elite dark horses in this competition, and I think that group is also quite equivalent in terms of the output that has been taken out by the managers. I think they're all on 3 points altogether. So it's going to be a tough, tough, tough call for that group. Who is actually going to progress ahead in that group will come down to the final match. They've played 2 matches altogether, but boy, oh boy, I thought before the Euros began, I thought Switzerland doesn't have the right balance. They don't have the right mentality. I think in terms of mentality, they are on top with the elite teams. I think even the French, um, despite the talent, the quality, the star value in that squad, I think Switzerland have a better in sync mentality. They have a better cultured team. You can see the manager wants to play players who are actually quite comfortable with one another. They have 3 players who play for Bologna in the Serie A, and I was a little astounded at first when I saw the lineup. They had made 2 key changes ahead. I was thinking he might play Shaqiri or Amdouni, but going in with those Bologna talents up front really worked out well for them. I think Xhaka is a major, major space gainer, a major ball winner in this team. There were times in this game where they were driving through the midfield, they were slicing their midfield. Germans are just so complacent at times with the ball. They're like, you know what, we're going to create chances, we're going to score goals. But this is a massive statement that they've put out there, and this is impressive. And this is a good example that they've set for the other underdogs in this edition of the Euros, that they are not considered any less. They're going to be as competitive as the elite top teams. And I think, even though this is not a very favorite opinion out there, but then I think in the semifinals we might have something like the World Cup. You might see maybe someone like Morocco, maybe a Switzerland, or maybe a Czech Republic, or maybe a Romania coming on top. Because these underdogs have so much desire, vigor, because the eyeballs are not on them. The media limelight is on teams like Germany, France, England, right? England have been so poor. In fact, they've generated the least amount of XG, or maybe in the last 3 teams when it comes to the total XG that they've generated in the last 2 games, and it's just been a poor show for them. But anyhow, Germans top the league, and I think Germany being the favorites in the competition because they are hosting the Euros, I think they are going to be quite competitive. But you never know. Euros is that tournament of upsets, so just stay tuned.